Hi, my name's Bertie, Head of Growth Automated Creative, sitting in for Tom, and welcome to this week's episode of Advertisers Watching Ads, where brands watch other brands' ads and discuss what's good, bad, and indifferent about them. Many thanks to our much-loved partner, Contagious, who picked the case study for this week. Check them out after you've watched the show. Before we get to the case study itself, I just want to introduce you to today's awesome panel.
So my name is Johnny Winn. I am the head of advertising at Virgin Media O2. So I look after essentially anything that's consumer-facing.
Hi, so Liam Dawson, and I'm a partner at MediaCom in London, in the UK, and look after a range of clients in our entertainment division.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, guys. Do you ever feel Netflix is always recommending the same thing? How do we break out of that bubble and discuss something new? In France, Fnac has found a way to cultural freedom. They're recommending the complete opposite of what you've just bought. Here's how.
Petit à petit, les algorithmes nous enferment dans une bulle. Il est temps de s'ouvrir à nouveau.
Unrecommended by the algorithm.
We're going to do marks out of 5 with your fingers at the same time. 1, 2, 3. What do you guys think of that ad?
I loved it. Yeah, it really hit home for me. I think there's a cultural truth in it that you kind of recognise that we're all probably getting things put in front of us that conform to what an opinion is or a value is that's probably been preformed. And I think it's taken away from that, kind of looking to broaden the horizons and inspire a bit of consensus and debate.
I don't like it much at all, actually. I think there's a valid insight there, poorly executed. I can see the appeal of being seen to be a disruptor of cultural consumption. I get all that. I just think that how they've done it isn't super clear.
You're absolutely right. The disruption that it was trying to create in terms of what algorithms have been doing and are in danger of doing, and kind of actually just getting people to reframe that a little bit and start looking at things that might be outside of their kind of comfort zone to get more of a rounded perspective on things, I thought was really strong. Certainly the executions I'd seen and read about felt quite simple and very relatable to the insight that is definitely true.
Just a little bit of background context here is that I know Fnac, I know the brand. I grew up in Paris. I grew up going to Fnac. So I was searching for what they actually did because I don't think that video was very clear. The TV ad, if you look it up, is atrocious. It's like they've gotten their employees singing a song, which is, and it's not just my words on that either. It's like it's getting ripped to shreds on YouTube by French YouTube comments. The English translation of the copy that was live in France, I think, comes across ham-fisted. Some idiomatic elements that I think just don't translate well into English. I couldn't find any results anywhere online. It doesn't show them in video.
Johnny, if you were served up a recommendation that is the antithesis of what you normally go for, what would make you go, actually, I hadn't thought of this. What a fantastic idea.
Well, I guess it's gimmicky because it's like, well, you don't want them. It's unlikely that they'll get kind of sales from that. Do you know what I mean? What would I not want? I mean,
what would make you go, oh, that's a surprise? Because look, surprises are never bad. What would make you think, oh, I didn't think of that, but actually I want to read it, I want to buy it, whatever it may be?
It's like when I get recommended things that I don't want, which happens all the time on Netflix. You don't think, ooh, this is so clever how I'm being disrupted by things that I don't want to. You just think, oh no, the algorithm got it wrong. for all I know, maybe the algorithm's not very good and they've just kind of dulled it up with this campaign.
What the digital transformation has taken away from is that kind of personal touch. In the 50s, 60s, you'd go into one of their shops and someone would have talked to you about your interests and what sort of books you were interested in, and you probably would have had a recommendation. I think now that's been taken out of everyone's hands and it's just an algorithm determining what you like, which is based on everything that you've liked before. From reading about the ambition of what they were trying to do, I do quite like that. And as I said, I think it's quite a nice positive disruption.
Johnny, given that you hated the way it was executed, what do you think you do to make it work? How could you get people's attention in the right way?
What spoke to me the most about it in terms of execution was that they put a human face, and being the sort of human counter reaction to Amazon, I can see how that could work. And so I would definitely probably lean in to that side of the execution a bit harder. But they're out of home as a person facing away from the point of view of the audience. It seemed to me quite a big statement for the entirety of what Fnac has to offer, when in reality, it only in practice would be valid for a small range of their products, notably books. I mean, I can't really think, I would have said DVDs, but they don't really sell those anymore.
Absolutely true in that, if you're shopping for an iron, you don't want to be served a toaster necessarily. So it's got a product limitation to it. But I think from a music perspective, I think it kind of does tap into a truth that you kind of, it would depend. I'm someone that probably is a bit more leaning forward in terms of broadening horizons maybe, but so I'd be more warm to that. It kind of married up a little bit with Discover Weekly on Spotify, for example, where some of those songs get served every week. I'm like, I've never heard of this. It's not necessarily a genre that I'd ever have listened to or sought out before, but actually I quite like it. And I like that aspect of kind of discoverability. And I think this does that to some extent.
I love Discover Weekly too, but it is based on things that you like.
Yeah, it always throws out quite a few surprises where you're like, where's that come from?
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then it takes me in another direction.
Liam, I'm going to ask you, having had the discussion and started at the point that you liked what you saw and you liked the concept, where are you now? Has Johnny changed your mind?
I think I obviously went gung-ho and I absolutely loved it. And I love the thought, I love the insight, I love the challenge that it's trying to lean into. And I think societally, it's an important thing probably to lean into. I think executionally, it could have been a lot better. I would definitely agree with that.
I like the concept when I first saw it. I asked Johnny the execution question just because I just thought, I don't know how you execute this properly. It's an idea in terms of thought provocation and disruption. It's great. But how do you take that and make it work for a brand?
Don't get me wrong. I think the insight, totally valid insight. And I guess there's potential to lean into that. And it does feel original. So points there.